So we're going to shift gears a little. Some feedback I got from you is that, and if this is your first time on this video, I'm talking about life and everything life and how to live a better life, and I'm sharing basically all the things I discovered. So you can also read them in books, but what I share has really worked for me, and so it will work for you as well. Anyway, so kind of the feedback I got that this is all nice and interesting, inspiring, but they will want something more meaty, like how do I do this actually, where can I read more about that stuff, etc. So we're going to make this a lot more concrete and kind of accelerate your transformation to a happier life. And it starts with a simple realization that you have to get out of your head. There's the saying, if you're in your head, you're dead. We are so up here all the time, and I don't mean this necessarily only kind of the mind-heart connection that some people will refer to. I just mean we're always in our head. We're thinking, ruminating, and that is just a suffering place to be, because it kind of constantly takes us. If you're present, you're not thinking, you're just experiencing. When you're thinking about the future or the past, and it's an awful place. And there have been studies about this as well, but you know this already anyway. But there have been studies that show whenever you do that, you are less happy. No matter what you're thinking about, you're less happy because it's either something that you don't have yet or something that you don't have anymore. So you just want to be present. That's the first thing. And again, it's much easier. I mean, it's not as complicated as it sounds. Just stop thinking, and you just need to learn to catch yourself constantly escaping the present, like worrying about stuff. Just live. Also, when people say, oh, but life is serious, I have to worry about ABC, you don't have to worry about anything. Like, you choose to worry, and that's really the core point. Whenever you blame something in the external world, meaning the world outside of you, the world that is not under control, then you're just basically saying, it's not my fault. You're kind of passing on responsibility, and that's just a lazy excuse. Like, the problem is, you can do that, but then you're kind of in a victim position, and then you can't do anything about life, right? Then you're like, oh, I'm fucked basically, and I can't do anything about it. Bullshit. You can change everything. It's just your attitude and your perspective, and when you think, the way you look at or the way you perceive whatever your situation. So for example, a friend of mine said I want to explore this a lot more. I want to read more about it, learn more about to embrace life and enjoy it and all of that, but my job doesn't let me. Well, maybe you're in the wrong job, and I'm not saying you can switch everything overnight, but you should question everything, the way you live, etc. And I don't mean that you need to change everything. You should just question everything, because it doesn't have to be a certain way. If you think about it, how you live and maybe the people around you, yes, but you go to a different place, people do completely different things, so you can do what you want. It's your life, do what you want with it. And you need to make that switch, realizing it doesn't have to be that way. Like, you don't have to go to that specific job 9 to 5. You can start something yourself. And you say, oh, I don't have money, I don't have any ideas. Well, start making ideas, start observing, like, what do people need? And you can start with yourself, like, what doesn't work? There's so many things that need to be solved. But that's just one part. Or you're saying like, oh, I'm always down and worrying. Well, stop it. It's really that simple. I mean, the decision is really that simple, and then you work on it. And of course, like any skill, the skill of not worrying, for example, you have to learn it. It's not going to happen overnight. You didn't learn the things in life overnight. You learned them since the day you came out of the womb. And all the skills that you possibly paid now for your job, etc., you sweat to learn them. So start learning about life, and that life can be anything you want to be, like literally. And this is not an esoteric concept, that's super pragmatic. Your head is your biggest obstacle. I mean, it's the most powerful tool, and it can be your biggest ally, but it can also be your biggest enemy. You kind of decide what your head is doing for you. And when you're constantly up here and worrying about it, well, then just everything plays out exactly that way, because you're just worrying, and then you're scared of stuff, and then you don't do stuff that you wanted to do. So just stop doing that. It's that simple. Now, how do you get there? Well, you start, or stop doing that. You start being more aware of what's going on in your head. And whenever you go into a place where you don't want to be, a negative one, or a suffering one, or a painful one, or an angry one, basically all the negative emotions, you just you use that as a trigger and say, like, I don't want to be angry right now. So you stop being angry. It's a choice. You can overrun your kind of primal reaction, like your emotional reaction. And that doesn't mean you don't have emotions. No, it means you switch to positive emotions. Like embracing how amazing I'm in this park, and yes, it's cloudy. People would say, oh, it's gonna rain tomorrow. But you can also say, no, it's amazing because there's less people and you can hear the bird chirping. Like, and I'm not saying you need nature, like what I'm just saying, like whatever you're doing right now, there's something amazing about it, and you just choose which side you see. And you have to realize that the side you see is not the right side, it's just your side. So if you say, oh, I actually want to have more fun or just be more joyful, enjoy less worrying, well, that decision is the first step in the realization that it is a decision. You're not a victim of your circumstances. So you make that decision, that's the first step, write it down, put it on your wall. Every morning you wake up, you look at it, whatever that decision is. And you might think, oh, these are like silly things, it's not gonna work. Well, now you just confirmed it's not gonna work because A, you're not gonna do it and you don't believe in it. Like your mind constructs the world for you, right? For example, also visually. That's why optical illusions work. We don't see reality. It's your mind creates that reality. What our eyes pick up is not three-dimensional, it's just two screens, and then the mind combines them to make a three-dimensional world, and it contacts and it makes me realize this is a tree and that tree is separate from that person walking, but it's just pixels that you pick up, and then your mind creates everything. So how something feels to you is your mind. If your life feels like it sucks, it's your mind. And you can, people having depression, I'm not saying they can just curate themselves out of it. That would be, that would be too easy. But the first step, because they're obviously in a very difficult position, but we're all kind of on that depression spectrum, right? Less or more. If you're constantly anxious or worrying, that is an early stage of depression, and you have to make that decision, or you have to have others help you make that decision. And one way of doing that is also get around people that are like you want to be. Like if you're around people that are always negative and always see problems and everything is awful, or that stress you out, then that's the wrong environment for you and for anybody, I think. Because life, literally, it should be fun. We shouldn't be worried about all the time. The only serious thing about it is that you're gonna die at some point. But do you want to die happily, or do you want to die sad? And if you say, oh, once I have all these things, then I'm going to be happy. It doesn't work like that, right? As long as you're looking for things that make you happy outside of you, you will always need more, right? It's like, think about your life until now, depending on how old you are and how much when there were stages when you thought, oh, once I get to there, then everything will be great. And then you got to there and it was all the same. So the realization is you just need to change your attitude, how you look at things. And the beautiful thing is really, it's so easy to do. Once you grasp that it's easy to do, and once you believe it's easy to do, because then you just do it and then it just happens. And different things might trigger that. So maybe my video does it, but maybe that's not enough. Maybe you need something stronger. So you just start exposing yourself to environments that help you in that belief. And the best thing is kind of experiences, like be around people that live that and breathe that, and where you feel actually. And I hope I can convey some of it through this video. It really is that simple. We're just fucked up because we think, oh, we have to kind of do all these things and live in a certain way. You can live in any way you want, and you can be happy in any way of living. I'm not criticizing any ways of living. You just have to find the style you want to. And what I'm saying is, most likely you want to have a happy style, something that excites you. And so, go that direction with your mind. Say your mind, oh, I'm actually excited. Actually, I love this grass here. It's so green and it's beautiful. And I know this is a silly example, but you can apply it to anything. If someone says something negative to you, you can say, oh, that's interesting. Finally, this person is actually honest and sharing it. And now I know something that no one else tells me and maybe everyone else is thinking. So whatever happens, you can be happy. And my cleaning help just walked in and she said, like, I'm always happy. I can see that she's always happy. And so we can all always be happy. It's just some of us got a little bit an easier start maybe, but we can all change it anytime. Like I've changed so many things, and really our brain is extremely malleable. Anyway, I hope you got some motivation to check that out. I'm running out of time. You have a wonderful day. If this is your first video, I'm doing a daily video about life and this stuff. Follow me on IGTV, and you know, you can start just with smiling. Just smile for a few seconds and the day is already going to be better. It works.